So, I am Emily Blunt. What's your name?
I'm Rose Byrne.
We're going to chat about our films.
We are here to talk about A24 films.
On the A24 podcast.
Yes, yes.
Can I just start by saying I wanted to scream directly into the pillow with you, watching you in this very slow-paced nervous breakdown, which is one of the most painful types of nervous breakdowns to encounter, that it doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in on you insidiously, and it was just extraordinary. You were so wild, so unhinged, so broken, and it's had such a lasting effect on me. It spoke to me on so many levels about maternal pressure and all the symbolism of the cord representing the umbilical cord, and it was just beautiful. You were freaking real.
That is so kind and sweet. Oh my gosh. I feel like this is going to turn into a festival of loving,
such a love fest.
I loved The Smashing Machine. I thought you guys were extraordinary. And the movie was so not what I had expected. It was very intimate and it was very quiet in so many ways.
Yeah.
And then obviously dispersed with the violence of what he's doing and then the violence of the relationship, like the emotional violence of the relationship.
But it is a kind of surprising movie. I think people are surprised. They think it's going to be a fight movie, and it's so fragile in many ways, you know?
Exactly. It's so delicate, and you guys have extraordinary chemistry.
Oh, thank you.
And I know you have a working relationship with
The Rock. We can call him Dwayne.
Okay.
Does it feel strange to call him Dwayne?
I'm going to follow
He
your
gets called
lead.
DJ.
Okay.
I like to call him Toots, just to really, really emasculate him.
Are you the only person who can call him that? Or?
Well, my whole team call him that now. And I've also encouraged people on his team to call him that as well. So it's now just stuck,
These
emblazoned.
These are the insights that I needed to get.
This is why we have great chemistry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got to just undercut all that, The Rock.
Wow. That's extraordinary. And I was so, anyway, and I'm such a fan of Benny Safdie and his, work. And so anyway, I have a million questions and I'm very intrigued by the process you guys did.
What should we start with?
What should we start with?
I have one question to ask you, which is like a question that I thought about when I watched the film, seeing what you put yourself through in such a high-octane sense. What was your car ride to work like, and what was your car ride back from work like?
My adrenaline was super high doing it, so I was just always on the brink, like a little bit just, and even like maybe only later did I realize, when you're in it, you're just you're just doing it, and you're in it, and you are. I'm not wanting to mess it up, and we had a good rehearsal period, which was lucky. So I felt like we'd had all the conversations, we'd had a million conversations, and so I felt. And some car rides home, I'm pretty hard on myself. I'm like, I didn't do this. I felt I should have done that. You go through the reel in your head and we had.
I do that 3 months after I'm done with something.
Fascinating.
I'll be driving. I'll go, that's how you should have played it.
Yeah.
It'll hit me.
Yeah.
That's okay though. Maybe it's good to keep investigating what we could have improved upon.
Is it?
But do you torture yourself, or are you or is it real self-flagellation?
This one was tough. This one was me constantly.
But you're so exposed in it. I mean, it is literally. Did you know how much your extraordinary face was the window into the soul of the movie? Did you feel it when you were shooting it? Did it feel like the camera was in your face all the time?
I did. On the first day, the camera got closer and closer, and then until it was here, and there was no zoom lenses, so it literally was that close, and then I could hear that it was 35, so I could hear it going. So it's that whole thing of being hyper aware, and so I said to Mary, "Oh, you're going to get that close? Is that how close you're going to get?" And she was like, "Mm-hmm." Mary Bronstein, the writer-director. And then once I knew, you go, okay.
Surrender.
That's what we're doing. And it was just like a technical, just pushing myself to the limit of this technical performance, right?
Yes.
Of what we do with the camera and what they would need. And more importantly, what they didn't need.
Yeah.
When it's that close. Because often it would just be her eyeball. But
it was so subtle what you did. And truly stress I felt watching you was rather unparalleled to anything I've seen before, and the impact it had on me. And it was lasting. It was lasting afterwards. I'm still thinking about it, about the pressure. I think Smashing Machine explores pressure as well. You know, it's sort of an interesting thing to be in a movie that explores it on such an unrelenting level. And it's such a window into the inadequacies maybe we all feel as mothers a lot of the time. And it was painful watching you go through it because it's such a mirror. It's such an amplified version of probably what we all feel like when we're on the last rung on the ladder for keeping it together. And you have to be calm and the together one when you're deeply white-knuckling it most of the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you feel playing her that you related to her?
I felt like I was sort of intrigued by, because this situation she's in is so specific, right? And most mothers or fathers, for that matter, won't go through it, right? To have this very specific, horrible illness that's happening.
And such an intense connection that they have.
You know, that it's, 99% of parents won't go through this. But I was sort of obsessed with, like, why is she reacting like this? Everyone's going to react differently in a crisis. And why is she doing this? Like, what is it about this person that is crumbling under this right now? And not to say that I wouldn't crumble or whoever wouldn't crumble, but like, why is she responding exactly like this? What happened before? Who was she before? Because
yes, I wondered that too. I was like, what's the shadow of her life? And therefore, is this that line between high stress and mental illness? And it exposes that and explores it. And it did make me wonder, like, who was she before she had a kid with this terrible condition? And
totally. And that was like, that's the question we ask, right? Like, what happened to this person before? And it's the homework, and you don't want to see the homework. Like, you just want it to feel lived in. But
she was so lived in. She was like so lived in. Like, it was really, really visceral.
Well, I felt the same for you guys. And I was I was intrigued. Like, did you guys rehearse? Like, what's Benny's process? What's Dwayne's process? Like,
I mean, Benny is so wonderfully collaborative, and he's known for these, that his movies have this unrelenting, at times suffocating energy, but based in being terribly human. And Benny's got such beautiful humanity to him that he's so interested in people's brokenness, and we shared our souls with each other in the few weeks we had leading up, and endless conversations on the phone, voice notes back and forth to each other. So we were so intertwined by this time we started, partly because I think we all felt we had to do our homework with the real people we were playing.
Of course, yeah.
And we all spoke
no longer together.
They're no longer together, but they are good.
And they share a child.
They share this beautiful child together, and they've done an amazing job co-parenting him. But that relationship is so volcanic, and so it broke my heart in speaking to them, because I think they really did strive for a happy medium, but they both struggled with so many demons that they could never find it. And they were addicted to chaos, hazard. Their love language was that kind of passion, and had a addiction to that codependency. She was codependent, he was controlling. It was just such a recipe for disaster when they couldn't live with each other, couldn't live without each other.
It did. Attempt on her.
It did.
Wow.
And I talked to her about it, and she was
so
nervous
intrigued.
to talk to me at first, because there was a documentary that the movie was based on. And I think the film didn't really reveal the full spectrum of Dawn's story. I think it focused on Mark. And I think she was villainized a little bit as the creator of his undoing. And I think anyone who's had addiction will own it and say, that's not true. It is on me. And so she was so nervous about the movie. And when I first started speaking to her, I could see that I needed to really advocate for her in the film. And I said, I know I'm playing you during this incredibly volatile time in your life. And I would hate it if someone made a movie about one of the more tumultuous times in mine. But I said, I'm going to advocate for you. I will take care of you. And I said, so if you tell me the full weather system of your story, I'll make sure it's in the movie. Wow. And one of the first things she said was like, I know that it's not for the faint of heart and it's not everyone's love story, but it was mine.
Yeah.
And it killed me. I was like, oh, it just moved me. And it is. And I'd never had this gift before. I don't know if you've had this experience where you're playing someone who's alive and you get to absorb them. Normally you're building it from this ground up.
Sure.
And it's your invention of someone.
Particularly
But to have like the person where I get to ask her, tell me about your childhood, tell me about your relationship with your mother.
Yeah.
What were you marinated in? Why are you this way? It was unbelievable. It was such a gift. Have you ever had that where you've played someone who's still with us?
I did a film that has not come out yet called Toe, and I played a real woman, and she was really candid with me and very open, and it was really cool. It is funny though, because you do feel like you're interviewing them. It's totally so personal.
It's so personal. And I was like, how would you make up after a fight? And she was like, we would make love. Like, I was like, got it.
I don't know how you feel, but like you work and or you do your work prior, and then, but once you're there, you sort of have to. You have to kind of let it go.
And I said that to her as well. I said, this is my version of you. I wasn't a fly on the wall, and I'll watch you. I'll learn your mannerisms. I'll listen to you. And I did, like a stalker. I mean, I watched her every morning as I went to work, just staring at her.
Wow.
I just watched her and watched her and watched her and spoke to her as much as I could. The boys didn't speak to Dawn. We all spoke to Mark. But Benny was so collaborative. Anything she shared with me, I would tell him and he would put it in.
Wow.
Somehow. He'd find a way to funnel it in somehow, even in a blink.
Heartbeat of the film, because it's so intimate and it's an insight into how he relates, and his performance was so interesting.
Isn't it astonishing?
Yeah, it was really, obviously he looks so, it's him, but it's not him. And that work, the prosthetic, right? He was wearing.
It was beautiful. It was like 14 little prosthetics, including the cauliflower ear, and like it was mainly the brow, the nose, eyebrows, the ear, and then longer in prosthetics if he was in a fight with swelling, bruising. I mean, he is the most patient man on earth.
Wow. Yeah.
I've never met someone more patient and someone better at sitting in a prosthetics chair. Unbelievably chill.
That's not for everybody.
It really isn't. And he would just sit there quiet as a little mouse, and was not very social. And we're pals.
Yeah, right.
He didn't talk to me in the makeup trailer.
Oh, wow.
He was in a zone.
Yeah.
And we were at opposite ends of the trailer. And I feel that I don't think DJ knew what his process was until this movie.
Ah, fascinating. Yeah.
I think he had always played these invincible characters. I mean, I have to say I loved him in Pain and Gain, and I loved him in like these other movies where you've seen glimpses of like this ranginess that I think he has. And I remember when I met him on Jungle Cruise, he was so the antithesis of what I had imagined. Quiet, contemplative, so wise, so kind.
Yeah, right.
Soft-spoken, quite shy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. And I said to him one day, I was like, I think The Rock is the performance of a lifetime. I'm realizing now. I said, how did you make that character The Rock? That's a self-generated character.
Wow.
And he said, no one's ever spoken to me about The Rock as an acting performance. I said, but it is.
But there's such theatricality to wrestling, right?
Completely.
I mean, it's just larger than life. It's the ultimate, theater.
So I kind of thought, well, maybe he could be an amazing character actor in this kind of enormous frame. There might be like endless bonkers characters that he hasn't unearthed. And so when he walked in for the first time as Mark, and he had the makeup on, he had the clothes, and we did the camera test, he did change the air in the room.
Wow.
Everyone was like, and I almost cried because it wasn't just a physical transformation. This is what was so spooky about it. It was an entire demeanor shift.
Yeah, interesting.
Like an immersion, like I hadn't really seen before. And he stayed it that way for the whole film.
Wow, he was really just sort of in it.
In it. And still so fun, and we would laugh, and, you know, we definitely, after some of those scenes, we'd all have a tequila and try to, like, you know, have therapy on the bathroom floor. Like, after the bathroom scene, we did just we sat for an hour and a half trying to come down. It was awful.
Really, and I didn't anticipate it. So I was very like white knuckling when I was watching.
But you know that feeling where you have a fight that just snowballs out of control. I mean, their version of out of control is probably more than ours.
But I know what you mean. You do feel that you just feel it. You're like, ooh, and like even the bit when he's like trimming the cactus and that kind of weird exchange and
that
like,
awful tension.
Yeah. And what was it shot on, the film?
It was 35.
Because it had such a great
graininess and a look to it. It was so beautiful.
Like very,
kind of a nostalgic feel.
Yes, exactly. It felt like that.
I felt yours had that too, that, you know, sometimes when you watch a movie which is so high def and it's so clean, I don't feel I get held captive by it as much. I feel it pushes me away. It's very presentational. The graininess and the full kidnap of yours was like, I just felt pulled inside your soul. It was so intimate. Like, I shouldn't be in your head. I shouldn't be that close to you. You scared me.
Deeply uncomfortable.
It was deeply uncomfortable. And I'm so curious about when you watched it for the first time. Were you unnerved by it?
Yes, I was. I was at the offices in A24 and I had been avoiding seeing it. Mary Bronstein, the writer-director, was
Do you always avoid seeing movies?
This one I did. I'm not a huge fan of... I'll watch it, but it's not till sort of years later that I can watch it and really watch. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I just wasn't not that comfortable with it. And but this time, Mary was like, "You ready?" And I'd be like, "Yes," and then I'd be like, well, "Maybe in a few weeks."
Oh,
you ready?
God, really?
Soon. And I was just scared.
But why this one? Just you felt?
I was so scared because it was all of me there. You know, it's just like stretched to the limit with this one, and I was like,
so naked.
Oh my God,
naked.
I just was terrified, and then I finally couldn't avoid it any longer. And I had to go in. And I
stomach in knots.
Was totally very nervous, so nervous. And then I just didn't move. I was like that, and almost forgot I was in it. You know those things where you're like, you forget you're in it a little bit. Like,
that's a huge deal.
Which is wild. That doesn't happen ever, right? That doesn't happen. And because of the language she was using with the camera, the film she was making, and all the sort of the feeling she was creating with the movie was sort of beyond I couldn't anticipate it. And so I knew what she was doing, and I knew there was lots of different sort of genres and tropes, like the horror tropes and the comedic kind of set pieces and stuff.
And the tone is so wild that you don't feel preached to ever.
It's very
because it's so bonkers that you self-examine watching it.
I think, and it's been cool because friends of mine who don't have children, or, you know, have totally responded to the film in a way that I couldn't anticipate.
That they understand her.
They get it. They get the feeling. Like, you could be a caretaker, or you know, necessarily have to be a parent, you know, or you could be an addict or someone who's trying to get out of a terrible situation. But that the feeling she's expressing in it, and the sort of the existential kind of nausea around the film too. I think that she's just running from herself more than anything else.
And I think it's a wonderful thing to see. You know, because sometimes my issue with a lot of female characters in movies is that they're sort of held in this ideal that they have to be feminine and good and palatable.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And so, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
And or they're described as like, she's a badass. And I was like, I don't want to be a badass either. Badass, as I say in my accent. But because you don't want to have all the answers. I think I really related to her completely unraveling.
Good,
completely unraveling and being stretched so thin. It was so relatable.
Oh, good.
You know, I think back to all these women in the 40s and 50s who just went absolutely insane at the ironing board. You know, having to be the perfect woman, and how much anger and rage and misplaced dreams they must have had. And it made me think of it when I watched your film, like, oh, this is a very exciting experience as a woman to watch this. And it's important for men to watch your movie. and understand the pressures, not just watch it, but feel it. And your film is a film that you feel. You don't watch it, you experience something
that's
on a cellular level. The way yours was shot was so in your face. With Benny's process, we barely saw a camera.
Oh,
he shot a lot, long lens, kind of prowling, hiding behind walls.
Yes. It felt
and he said,
like
I wanted that spying.
Yeah.
He said, I want it voyeuristic. I want you to feel like, oh God, I shouldn't be in the kitchen with them. This is so intimate. I shouldn't be watching this. And for us, it was so freeing because you didn't feel anything technical around you. Whereas I've done that experience that you had, I remember it on Girl on the Train. The camera was directly in my face the whole time.
Yeah.
Claustrophobically, but then you're right, you get used to it, and it doesn't bother you after a while. But I think Benny felt, even with the fight scenes, with the ring, he wanted to be like 3 rows back, as if you're watching, looking up, that you're not in the ring with them.
Yeah.
So you miss stuff in quite an interesting way. You feel yourself looking around him to try to get around his back, and
he created that beautifully because I did feel I felt like I was spying. I did feel like that, and I was like, and at one point I was like, did they know I'm spying on them? Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, did they know that I'm like how it was very, particularly in like the locker room and these sorts of little moments that was like that, and I loved your look so much. The hair,
it was fun.
It was just fun, and such a like, you're such a chameleon. I was like, wow, I just love you. Always inhabit from one to the next in a way that is really singular. It's wonderful. No, I loved it, and I was curious about that. Like, were you just really delving into her kind of archive of looks and like?
Heidi pulled lots of photographs of her, and there is so much footage of her. So it was like 97 to 99, that sort of era.
So great. The music was so great.
So good.
Oh, so great.
And I do need a physical transformation. I feel it helps me. It's the in. With her, it was those extraordinary nails, those.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the first time I put those acrylic nails on, I was like, whoa. They were just so long, and as much white as there was beige of that 90s French tip. And when you speak to Dawn, she's handsy. She's like this all the time, and she talks with her hands a lot, and she's like in his face with them. And I saw on the documentary she would like touch his face with these nails. So that was quite a big in. And then you get the spray tan and the wig and the Wonderbras, and then
the Wonderbras. Oh my god!
No, it was sponsored by Wonderbras. They were like 2 heads by the time Heidi. I had Wonderbras and fillets in there. They were like under my chin. No, you could see every man on set was like that, like not like
looking, not looking,
yeah, not just looking at your hairline.
Right. Okay.
It was so overt and so overly glamorized, but I loved it that she was so glamorized, but their connection wasn't, their relationship wasn't. It was so messy, and yet everything she did, about the way she dressed, looked, all of it, it was intentional. It was deliberate to draw him to her.
Yeah, there was.
So I even found that quite vulnerable. She was so freshly blown out and done, and it was all to bring him to her. You know,
right. And I know, and I felt that was so. That the big final scene where she's sort of confessing all that stuff, and he's like, it was really just vulnerable and just like heartbreaking, and I felt like, so I don't know, I just was felt so could finally see what she's trying to do and what she was trying to like,
and I think she really desperately was trying to save his life and be there and be the center of his universe. And I think it's a very complicated thing when you're married to a fighter whose life is on the line in the ring, but his life is on the line in the rabbit hole of his own addiction.
Yeah.
And she didn't have all the tools, given the givens, to save him and catch him, because she was struggling so much herself.
Yeah.
So it was so exciting to play a relationship that wasn't kind of movie-fied. It was sort of very untidy, and I don't know, it just I think it's Benny is unafraid of that he wasn't And I've never been concerned about being likable in a movie. It's sort of the worst word on earth because you do just want to be exposed.
I often wonder if like actors get asked that, male actors.
Never.
Or right, yeah. Or if they're like, you played a pretty complicated character. Oh here. Yeah. Like, how do you like? I just wonder.
I have found that with Dawn, that in my experience, promoting it and everything, women really understand her. Mm. And it's not to say that every man does. A lot of men really, really understand her and they do see her as the victim. Mm. But a lot are really scared by that.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas, because she's not always nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
She doesn't always say the right thing.
Yeah.
And she's not always there for him. And yet I think there's such a free pass for male characters to be unhinged,
it's celebrated. I would
completely.
I would go further. I would say it is.
And then they're like, but he really came through for his kid at the end. I was like, okay.
Or like, but he's really funny, or I don't know, or whatever. But he's like, you go, it's fascinating because when you play a character that it's more polarizing as a woman, I just think the scrutiny is people are very uncomfortable.
Have you found that especially on this one?
Oh yeah.
I was really curious about what kinds of questions you've had on this that have been irritating.
I mean,
that's what I want to know. Yeah, what question has irritated you?
It's the. It's a sort of a quiet sense of deep disapproval that I find in there that's intrinsic, that is fascinating to me.
From men and women or everyone?
From both, I would say. I think for me, young people have been brilliant because young people are just, they're so brave. They're so much braver. Like they've asked the best questions and the bravest questions, and they're not as kind of, I don't know, cynical or conditioned or whatever yet, but I've found that that sort of constant thing of like, why are you drawn to a character that's so, and I'm like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't I be? Why wouldn't I want to do that?
I mean, that's the beauty of it. You are so exposed on a human level, and those are the people you want to play.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
That's what you want to gravitate towards. That's what you run to.
Exactly. So it's always, it seems, I don't know how to answer that question when people ask, I'm like, why wouldn't you do it kind of thing? But I do think there is an inherent distrust of a woman who is misbehaving. Like,
I agree.
That is kind of, it's tough to ignore. Or I don't know.
Totally
I'm sure you've come across that. You've played a lot of complicated
I've played
women
a lot of,
like,
and I've played a lot of women who, I completely understand, relate to. I might not always agree with what they do, but I don't really care if I agree with them or not.
That's not the point. It's not the point. That's not our job, is to
it's also not a morality play. I'm not I don't want to take a moral standing on someone and how they behave. It's that these people exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's parts of all of us in Dawn, and there's parts of all of us in Linda. There are. We have all done that to a certain extent.
Or thought about doing it.
About it.
And that's the difference is, I was intrigued. So you brought this how did this one come together? Like, because you guys obviously had your relationship from
Jungle
so
we've been friends for a few years before this came up. So DJ had apparently brought the documentary to Benny in 2019. They loved meeting each other, but then COVID happened, people's schedules happened, and it sort of just drifted. And then I was shooting Oppenheimer with Benny, and we were in the makeup trailer getting our old people makeup on, sitting there for hours, getting prosthetics on. And he said, "You're friends with Dwayne, right?" And he said, "Please tell him I cannot stop thinking about Smashing Machine, and will you reconnect me? Can you give me his direct number?" So I called DJ and I was like, "Were you going to work with Benny Safdie? You have to do this movie." And then I watched the documentary that night and I called DJ and I said, you have to do it, and you have to do it now. It's like the full wingspan of what you're capable of. And they reconnected, and then a few months later, I mean, deep down when I watched the documentary, I was like, I would quite like to play Dawn, but I didn't want to muscle my way in.
You hadn't had that.
No. So it was initially I felt like I was like a matchmaker.
Right, yeah.
And then a few months later, Benny called me and said, "I really would love you to be Dawn." And I was like, okay, because I loved in the documentary that relationship. I was like, God, there's so much to mine there, and it's never done a relationship like that.
Yeah.
Never played a character like that.
Yeah.
And I wanted that exploration of something and somebody and a relationship that was so broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
And precarious. So when Benny called, I was thrilled. And then I think it was like 6 months later we were making it.
Wow. And you guys are from such different worlds.
Totally. And we're like best friends. I mean, we are so polarized, and we do laugh about that. We should be like chalk and cheese, but we're not. We are pals, and I just adore him. Yeah. And he's become this incredibly wise, profound friendship in my life, and someone who I have learnt a lot from. Yeah. You know, I learn a lot from DJ. I think he's got an amazing life as well, and so much struggle, so much pain, and yet he was always playing the guy who had all the answers. And I was like, oh, it would be so cool to see you unravel. Yeah. Yeah. And be so vulnerable and so fragile. Mm. And I think that this part was, I think, cathartic for him. Yeah, right. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Really, really cathartic. And that's partly why I almost cried when I saw him as Mark for the first time, because it was like seeing relief wash over him. Oh, wow. He came and he looked so calm.
He must really trust you.
I think he does.
Right?
I think so.
To be able to go there and to
I think so. And he really trusted Benny as well. So like the three of us were like the musketeers. We were so connected. We really shared a lot of our own souls. As I was wondering how much you guys talked beforehand.
So Mary Bronstein and I, she was has become a great friend, and this story is based on what she went through.
Really?
Yeah. So not entirely, obviously. Yes, she doesn't, do what my character does. But she's spoken about this, that her daughter was ill and she had to go to California for treatment. Her husband lives in New York. I mean, They live in New York. Her husband had to work, and so she went for this treatment and was told it would take 8 weeks, and it took 8 months. And she was living in this like hotel room with her daughter, like two demented kind of roommates, and that's
driven insane by the beeping machine.
Exactly. That was like a big character in her life, and she. Her daughter would go to sleep every night, and she would go and into the bathroom and, eat junk food, and wrote the screenplay.
And just to be alone as well.
Totally, to finally have that time. And so it was born of a place of real, experience. And I think it's reflected in the film. It's like a very...
Oh, it's so personal.
She really had something to say. And she was really candid with me, really, really candid with me. And we had this great rehearsal period of about 5 weeks where I would just go to her apartment, and we would 3 days a week, and we would just sit there and go over the script. For it was like preparing for a play. It was just every line of dialogue.
Had you worked in that way before on a film?
Not only on a play. Never. Yeah. I mean, you don't get time. Have you had that experience before?
No. The only longer time is if I was doing like a musical, like a Mary Poppins or something, a very long rehearsal. But you're learning all the dance numbers. You're learning But that's how Rob Marshall works. But on Smashing, we would just talk a lot and. I don't remember the last time I had rehearsals.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I like for TV, you don't get that. Yeah. Like if you're doing a series, it's very rare. So, but thank God, because we shot the film in 25 days.
Holy shit. Yeah. Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah. We shot it
like a runaway train.
2 takes, maybe 3.
Oh my God.
So, and Mary was hands off. She because we talked about it, so we would come to the set every day, go over everything, and then we would just go. We just didn't have time.
So you felt great freedom in it.
I did feel freedom. It was a tightrope. It's just a tightrope, because too much it would fall into being like the trap it's just a screaming hysterical thing, and then but too sort of comic or I don't know, whatever, it would become not realistic. But it would be sort of
clever injections of bizarre, bonkers comedy. It all worked because tonally and the way she shot it, it was like you were having an out-of-body experience watching something. It was really captivating in that way that, when you watch movies and you feel like maybe the director or the writer has seen too many movies. Yes. I didn't feel like Mary Bronstein has watched too many movies. It was such a singular voice, even though I'm sure she's watched every movie. But she had this singular mad voice.
Yeah, it's she's a force. She pushed this thing uphill for 8 years, and it's not easy to get a film made, as you know, like a dark script like this. And she fought, every step of the way to get it made. But I was so curious. I wanted to ask you how you choose your projects. Like,
that's a good question.
I know that's like an annoying question,
it's
but
actually a great one. And
you have such a great, extraordinary. Have worked with extraordinary directors. You're so funny, and you've I feel like you're such a true chameleon.
Oh, thank you.
It's so how do you anticipate it, or don't you anticipate it? Like, what do you?
I don't think I do anticipate it. I definitely, between projects, I'll sort of yo-yo between genre. Like if I've done, so I did The Fall Guy before this, and then I took a year and a half off because I just felt like I needed a breather from being on a film set.
Which was so fun.
So fun. And that was just a hoot. And it was just like a giant blooper reel and just so fun.
In Australia.
Yes. And I loved it. And then Smashing seemed like the antithesis of that. So I think between projects, I will oscillate, in tone so that I'm, I guess, excited and challenged and a bit terrified. I think I do want to feel terror. That's probably one of the things I look for. If I read something and I think, I know how to wrap my arms around this, then I probably won't choose it. Or if maybe it feels derivative or to something I've done. And so I think that's a big thing. I think lately I love all the genres, but I want a world builder, and I want it in the writing, that it's a unique world and a unique voice. And what's the director's world? Like, what is it? And that's why your film spoke to me, because you can't pin it down. It's carved out completely new space for itself. So I think I do look for that in the writing, like a freshness that is exciting to me. And
Are you good at reading scripts?
Yeah.
I find them very hard to read.
Yeah, I'm pretty good, but it's awful. If I'm not in 20 pages, then
you have a rule kind of thing. Yeah, to try to.
Yeah, it's not fair. You should probably read the whole thing, but I think it's like if I'm not really immersed in it, and if I don't see an in, whether it's the tone or whatever it is, like listen, obviously if it's a smaller part and I come in later, I'll keep going.
Go to the end.
Yeah, I'll just flick through, yada, yada, yada. There's me.
But
me. But I try not to anticipate the type of thing I'm looking for. I guess I just wait to be spellbound by something, and it will be a really strange reason as to why I love it, and I'll never be able to really explain it.
Yeah,
but
like an intuition.
What about you?
I mean, similar. I think that's why I use that word, because I feel like you don't know what's around the corner. You know what corner you've just come from.
Sure.
So it's a bit like trying to stay open, trying to not anticipate it, and I mean, I'm just agreeing with everything that you said, but like, it's true. If you go, I can do that too. I've done that.
Yeah.
I don't need to.
I don't need to do that again.
Yeah. Do I need to do that again? And then of course it's like director, right?
Yeah.
Like trying to seek out the people that are making those worlds that you speak of,
which is quite rare, you know. And I know that the movies we've been in this year, it's why A24 is so good at fostering these types of challenging, exciting, rare material that don't conform, I'm always looking for movies that don't conform or subscribe to something. But they are rarer and rarer, it's like so many numbers are crunched on, will this movie deliver? Like, we need to have an action scene within 10 minutes of the movie, otherwise it's going to tank. And it's like, it's just sad, all of the hoops you have to jump through. And so to get to do a film like the gift of these movies this year is rare. Yeah. And I know that. Yeah. And I don't want to feel like those opportunities are slipping through all of our fingers. But I think the earth plates are moving with our industry, and they're becoming harder to harvest, and so
you have to relish the opportunities.
Relish it
when you have them, because it's harder and harder. It's just harder and harder, and it's just changing so much how people consume stuff and what
Completely.
they consume and all those sorts of things. Like, so when these opportunities come, I always think this may never happen again.
Yeah.
Like it could
run to
very
it.
well never happen again. So, because all you have is the experience at the end of the day,
I know.
it's like, that's ours.
That's it. And you can't really control anything after that, which I kind of surrendered 2 years ago, and I don't mind that relinquishing. It's kind of important. Otherwise, the experience of the film will be curated towards how do we get bums in seats? How do we do this? And I don't want to work that way,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Linda and like, what did you love about her? What did you feel for?
Well, she's brazen.
Yeah.
And she does not, she's anti-authority.
Yeah.
She doesn't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
She's the opposite to me. I don't have those qualities at all.
Like, I'll just get in line.
I really don't. Like, she's brazen. She's not that, and that was challenging in those scenes, particularly like with James, played by A$AP Rocky, who's this so so great, so charming.
Had he done a lot of acting before?
One other job, and then after that he did the Spike Lee movie, Highest to Lowest.
Oh my God, he was so good.
And wasn't he good?
So good. I love working with people who haven't acted very much.
Yeah.
I mean, Dwayne and I were the only
I was going to say
the only actors in it.
So they were all non-actors.
They were all fighters, like all from the MMA world, and I think Benny loves working in that way.
And what about the girl when you have your scene where you go have margaritas?
Awesome?
So was she?
She's an actress.
She's an actress. Okay,
she was awesome.
Okay. I was wondering if she was from that world as well.
She was an actor.
Okay.
And but everyone else, like the guy who plays Mark Coleman, he's a real life MMA heavyweight.
Yeah. Great.
The guy who plays Boss Rutan, who plays Boss in the movie, who plays his trainer, he was Mark Kerr's trainer.
Oh my God.
So that was weird, for him.
Did Dawn come to set?
No.
She
was really nervous.
Did you want her to come to set?
We actually didn't really want. I mean, Mark came to set a little bit and watched it a couple of times, but I think it's healthier if you're playing people for them not to come to set.
Yeah.
Because I think I would be concerned about them watching and feeling exposed, and it was very scary showing them the movie the first time.
Yes.
Oh my God.
How was that?
It was very scary. She was very scared. We had shown Mark 2 weeks or a month prior. It really rocked both of them. But Dawn has since watched it about 4 times, and she said to me at the LA premiere, it's become very healing, which I never expected. I really was scared because I care about her, that it would unearth so much pain, which I think it has, but probably on a necessary level. I think it's been able to heal stuff between her and Mark. I think he has recognized his accountability through the film. And that's an amazing thing. And none of us expected that. We didn't know it would be a healing thing for them. So we're so grateful that it has been.
What you would hope for, but not even consciously, but for
I
them
mean,
to
we
have
were
that,
hoping, that they
right.
would see themselves and go, okay, I'm seen. People get me now. This is my imprint on the world, and because it plays that delicate line between should we only strive to win and succeed and then sort of eviscerate your own need to be okay. And I like that about the film, that it's sort of the anti-Rocky. It's not the guy with his fist in the air. It's actually the guy who's okay losing.
Yeah. Which I didn't, I wasn't sure how it was going to end either. And I was like, oh my God, it was just, again, surprising. In a way that was not what I had anticipated.
And Conan O'Brien was so good. He was awesome.
He was so good. He was so not Conan.
I know. So
like truly un-Conan. Like,
I loved your scenes with him.
Squashing every kind of all of his, usual person, the Conan we know and love.
Yeah, he was so reserved. He was
had such contempt for Linda.
Completely. I loved you guys together.
Yeah, it was really like the love story of the film, like the breakup.
It really was.
The bitter end of this
it
dreadful
really
love story.
Okay, one more question, then I know we have to go. When you were hurling yourself into those waves at the end, I had a panic attack because I'm absolutely terrified of the ocean. Was that you doing it?
I did about
Bloody hell.
80%. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But
it
I'm
gave me a
an
heart
Aussie.
attack.
I'm Australian.
So you grew up just hurling yourself into massive waves.
No. I have great respect for that. I'm always like, I know if there's a rip, I know I don't have to go in, or I know how to do it, you know. So, but I was hyper aware of the ocean, but it was rough. Yeah.
But I felt like she needed that.
Like a baptism.
Yes,
you know, she
the baptism.
and then get stuck and thrown back out.
Oh, you were just magnificent.
Oh, you were
brilliant, and I've loved talking to you.
I've loved talking to you. We didn't get to talk about Kik Gurry.
I love him so much, Kiki.
I was like thinking of it. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, I love old Kik.
We've got to give him a shout out.
He loves you so deeply.
Isn't he a great hang?
He galvanizes such joy.
Yeah, he does.
Everyone was completely obsessed with him on Edge of Tomorrow. Like he was the glue.
Yeah,
he was the glue.
He's the glue. He's the
caramel that keeps us all together.
He'll be stoked.
Okay, good. We love you, Kik.